Evelyne, welcome to AI to Peace.
Hi, thank you, Jeremy, for having me today.
The first thing I wanted to ask you, Evelyne, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Yes, of course. I'm a senior researcher at the University of Lucerne, and I'm conducting research on the impact of digital change, of the digital transformation on society, specifically on peace and conflict. From an ethical perspective, also looking at human rights. So really trying to look at it from an ethical perspective, not only describing what is happening, but also asking critical questions, like, for example, like what kind of society do we want to be living in? What kind of person do I want to be? Or also what kind of world do we want to be living in if we're talking about peace and conflict? And well, my background, I started from social sciences, from like traditional peace and conflict research. And well, it's a bit sometimes too much security focused for my taste, like in the sense of how can we avoid violence? And sometimes I felt it a bit like almost a bit too depressive. And so I try to turn more towards like the normative side, asking also like how could things be different? And that's how I ended up in ethics, like not only describing how the world is, because also currently it's not in the best state, so to say, when it comes to peace and conflict. And so also asking like these normative questions, like what kind of society, what kind of world do we want to be living in?
So in relation to the development of AI, what concerns you most about its evolution?
What concerns me most is its merger, or its possible merger with biology, like everything which has to do with biotech. And I think on the one hand, it's an important research field. I mean, especially if we talk about improving health, creating new medical, also rehabilitation possibilities. I mean, that's a great area, of course. But I also see it a bit critical because, like, let's say if AI would ever be to merge completely with biology. I mean, everything in biology has kind of a survival instinct. Even plants might have, because they turn towards the sun. They grow, they change themselves. Like this internal change mechanism also inherent in biology. So I would be worried, for example, if AI would suddenly develop some survival instincts, that it would not find the button anymore to switch it off. So to say it simple, like as long as AI stays in the machine, I'm okay with it in a way. But if it would be merging one day with biology, I think there it gets complicated, because suddenly you might not find the switch anymore to turn it off, or it might resist. It might even maybe try to create a program which does not allow you to turn it off, for instance, because it might not want anymore. Like in a way, because if it has a motivation, that would concern me. And I think that could happen if you connect it with biology to this survival instincts, to emotions, the ability to feel pain also, the ability maybe even to feel joy. And that would be really difficult to handle. Also, even the question then arising if we should give rights to AI, for example, like to animals, because if AI has the ability to suffer, it would maybe also require rights. And that would be a real test, not only for AI, but especially for humans. And I would rather try to avoid that situation.
Incredible. Absolutely fascinating. What's your thoughts in relation to AI's ability to support humanity to live more peacefully and sustainably?
Well, I think when we talk about peace and conflict, what is interesting is that most conflicts or most wars, I think, are not really fought on rational grounds. But let's say human beings are not always very rational. And especially when it comes to emotions like hate, to pain. So in a way, I think what AI could really help us is to find a bit of more, how to say, rational ways to not AI solving our conflicts, but showing us up more rational ways to communicate, to address the conflicts we're having, for example, in peace negotiations, in mediation efforts. Also enabling us to better understand the other side, because often there's not even so much communication between enemies. And so if you would have more insight into also into the background, like into the interests of the other side, maybe it could open up a bit more understanding, or it could even help like practical ways to keep track of negotiations. Because sometimes promises are made and the misunderstandings arise, because these are very emotional situations. And I think maybe AI could help us get a little bit more rational, which could help to solve conflicts.
Evelyne, if anyone would like to learn more about your work, how can they do that?
Well, I'm currently in the process of, I don't want to say finalizing, almost finalizing a book, which is called I Connect, Therefore I Am, Developing a New Vision of Peace for the Digital Age. So I cannot give a guarantee if it will be published still this year, maybe also next year. But on any case, you can find me on LinkedIn. And there I will be updating whatever research outputs I'm having. Recently, there's also been published an article in the Data and Policy Journal, which I also will put on LinkedIn. So yes, I think LinkedIn is the simplest way to find me.
Great. And in terms of resources for people who have listened to you and maybe listened to other people in AI to Peace, is there a book, a film, a sort of a destination that you would recommend people read or go to for more information around AI?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, something that concerns me also with AI, I haven't mentioned that for your first question about what is my worries with AI, but I'm actually also very worried about autonomous weapon systems and the responsibility of people who develop these systems. And sometimes I like to draw the parallel there with the nuclear energy, with the atomic bomb, and it's not long ago that I saw that movie again. What was it called? Dr. Strangelove, or How to Love the Bomb, and from Stanley Kubrick. And it's a very satirical movie. And I found it very insightful, because even if you have clear command structures and you wouldn't think certain things could or would happen, still humanity, or there are always some kind of crazy human beings. There's always an element of loss of control. You cannot always control everything. And I think it's the same with autonomous weapon system, with AI. Like, we should be very cautious about what we put in the hands of AI. And especially when it comes to autonomous weapon, I think there should be more caution as well.
What a very interesting film to recommend. I'll actually, I saw it a long time ago. I'm going to watch it at the weekend. Okay.
It's a crazy one. Still black and white, but yeah.
Evelyne, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts for AI to Peace, and the very best of luck with the book and all of your incredible work. Thank you, Evelyne.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Thank you.